Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to a match preview ahead of our FA Cup game. Third round, our first game of the FA Cup this season, at home against Rotherham. Unfortunately, there won't be any fans in the ground for obvious reasons, but nonetheless, we've got what the pundits would call a potential banana skin to overcome as we take on League One opposition. I think they are League One, aren't they?
No, the Championship. But you're not supposed to know that because they are both League One and the Championship. No man's land.
But yeah, I've never. They bounce between those leagues like no one's business.
They're not in a league.
That's if they're non-league, then that means we're all automatically like got a banana skin to overcome. But anyway, we've got Rotherham in the cup. It's a banana skin that we've got to overcome. We've had a mixed record against these sides in the past. So yeah, we've got to be on our A game. Certainly going to need an improvement from the West Ham performance anyway. We're joined by Owen and Terry for this. I'll start with you, Owen. How are you feeling going into this game? Can you expect wholesale changes?
Going into the game, I think it's a tough one. I'm a big fan of what Paul Warren's done at Rotherham. I think he's got a group of players who give the lot. I think on paper they went down, but they stuck with Paul Warren. They came back up. They're giving it a right good go. Them and Wickham have got clearly the worst squads, I would probably say, in the Championship, but they're both within the mix, and it's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be an awkward game. They're not going to make it easy for us. So in that respect, I think we're going to have to put on as many players on the pitch that are capable of taking the game away from Rotherham, particularly early on, because if you have a look at them in the Championship, as games go on, they tend to stifle teams and make it quite awkward. So we're going to have to be on our A game. Early goals will help, but I think this is one. It's probably not going to be a vintage game to watch, or especially with no fans there or anything. It's going to be. It has to be one of them where we have to class as a routine win. I think we'll make some changes with Wolves coming up in minds and that, but I think it's a game we're going to have to. If we're going to want to give everything in this cup, I think we're going to have to take seriously because he's got a group of really well-motivated players, Paul Warren.
Yeah, I think it's always a difficult situation to be in. I think no one, as much as it sounds routine, you never want to go too easy on these kind of teams because they are going to be really up for this. Given the circumstances, it's also, I think, these kind of teams who are struggling in the Championship sometimes like a bit of a break, don't they, from the relegation scrap, as you like, and they really try and show the stuff in this competition. I remember, dare to say, I mean, this might be a bit before your time, Owen, but Terry, I think you might remember the Tranmere game from 2001.
It's been more than that. It's been Shrewsbury and teams like that.
We've had many a game
Millwall
like this.
as well the other year. A group of well-motivated players give the lot. I think you say that about the Championship teams. I think especially those who have got the weaker squads and whose aim is to stay in the Championship. Ed Gareth Ainsworth for Wickham say this week that winning breeds winning, and we're going to have to, even if it's the FA Cup and there's no points on the table, if we win the game, it gives a different kind of mentality shift within the players if you start winning games again. So I think Rotherham will have the same mentality to try and come and try and get a positive result, which will then sort of propel them onto to the games coming up in the Championship. But even if they give a decent performance, I think they're just looking to get some momentum from the game. For us, though, I think it's a game we have to kill early.
Yeah, we definitely. That's going to be it. We want to get this done and dusted as soon as we can. On that note, before, as we were talking about Rotherham getting a positive result, obviously, what's the situation with considering the COVID sort of thing with replays?
Not sure. I know Rotherham had a couple of cases around the Christmas week, and then the game against Cardiff got called off, not because of COVID, but because the pitch, I think, was waterlogged or something like that, frozen pitch, something like that, and he couldn't play the game. But I know they had cases. I don't know what their sort of situation with the game is coming into this, but I imagine it'll be all right considering he didn't play against Cardiff or nothing. So they probably had that period to take the sting out of it. But I don't think there's going to be replays or anything, and so games are suspended. I would imagine it would be a similar situation to that when Leighton Orient played Tottenham, and the team with the cases are just pull out of it. Maybe I think that'll be the way to do it. But unfair as it is, I think the bigger teams who are looking to win the competition will always sort of put pressure on it for that kind of thing. But whether that's right or not, I think.
I very much disagree with it, but so be
But
it.
then the game's got to be called off and can't be played. You can't rearrange it for 6 weeks' time, can you? Because it's a third round game.
There's no replays. It's decided on the day.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
By the whole by crook, Jurgen Klopp's got his wish of no replays.
Yeah.
I think they would have gone anyway in these circumstances, but yeah. So it's even more of a banana skin in that regard, because if you slip up and draw, you go into a penalty shootout. There's no replay to put it right or anything like that. So
yeah. I mean, I don't know what that will quite do for the tie. I mean, will teams play for penalties like Rotherham? Maybe, you don't know. But we had that similar thing against Man United in the League Cup quarterfinals where the game was ebbing away. It was a stick or twist type of thing. Do we play for penalties here, or do we just throw everyone forward? I mean, it didn't matter anyway because he broke us down. But it's that thing of what you do for them teams like Rotherham. They would usually come and play for a replay and take us back to their ground, but I'm not sure them not being able to do that. Will they have more of a go or hope for a penalty shootout? I mean, I'm unsure of how these teams will approach it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. It's like very much a tactical battle. I think it's going to be the case. Like I say, Paul Warren's quite a low block sort of manager, isn't he?
Well, yeah, I think they've developed a little bit. I think when he first took the job, when they were in the Championship the season before last, they were very direct, and they went sort of a team who passed the ball a lot. But I think they don't pass the ball a lot now, but they're a little bit more sort of thoughtful in their approach now how they play than the sort of strong direct approach they had last time. I think with being in League One last season, they were better than most teams, so they had to find a way of breaking teams down in League One. Now they've gone back in the Championship, they sort of reverted a bit more back to playing more directly, but it would depend. I think he knows he can come to Goodison and play as stripe because they would get beat comfortably, but you'd hope so anyway. So I think he will look to make it difficult. I think any manager in the Championship, apart from a few crazy ones, would look to do that.
Yeah. Terry, but obviously what we've just said in mind, and we've only got one shot at this. Does that alter the way we pick the team? Do we go a bit more? Do we put more first teamers out, knowing that we can't afford to mess this fixture up?
I don't know. I would have thought we'd have gone strong. Well, I did think we went strong. We would have gone strong in the League Cup, and then when the game arrived, we had massive wholesale changes completely. So I know, like, Ancelotti's made it quite public that the aim for this season is to qualify for Europe and win silverware. So they are going to be taking these cups seriously. But I don't know whether he just takes a view that without the extra factor of the fans being there, away or at home, it's not as much of a, not as dangerous as normal cup ties are. Like, the quality, it's just down to quality and coaching when there's no crowds. So even though we had massive wholesale changes in the League Cup against lower league opposition, we still had too much for them. We weren't like, we played for quite well at Fleetwood, but against Salford, we were in no danger of losing, but we laboured for long spells of the match, if you remember. So I don't know, this game, I wouldn't be surprised either way. I would be surprised if we just got the first team, like a first team, 11. But I don't know whether we'll get the wholesale changes or he'll just make, a couple. I think there's some obvious ones, like the people might get what they want, and, Nkunku plays this game, like send the Masters into
Gordon.
You are.
I was going to say it wouldn't make sense to play Nkunku in such a like.
Yeah, I think it might be one he trusts Nkunku in because it's lower league opposition, not particularly strong lower league opposition. I think if we were playing, Norwich, then he might decide to play it a bit stronger. But Rotherham are down the bottom. He might go, right, well, I trust Nkunku. You probably see him rest Mina because he's usually one he protects, from injury. He doesn't, want to overload him. You probably see Andre Gomez come back in.
No, that's Rotherham will lick in the lips.
Maybe Bernard. You might not see James. You might wait to play him because we've got Wolves, Aston Villa, Leicester all coming up. You're going to need James more for them. So we might see like just 3, maybe 4 changes and have the core of this first team, but just change a couple in and out. I think Olsen will play. That's what I'd do. I would hope he just like Nkunku, Olsen, maybe play Godfrey centre back alongside Keane or Holgate. Andre Gomez in the middle. I don't want to see Tosin. I wouldn't be bothered. I wouldn't be bothered if Richarlison sat this one out and we played Bernard or even Gordon, whichever one. But I personally, given that without the League Cup now, don't want to see that sort of Salford type 11 where everyone's changed and it's, you're asking for trouble if the chemistry's not there on the day.
Rotherham are a lot better than Salford and Fleetwood as well, so I think that should be considered when with lower league opposition as one great big umbrella, but the quality level between Rotherham and Salford's huge.
But as you said, winning breeds winning. If you can get another game into Seamus Coleman, it might, iron out a few. He's not been very good, has he, in the games he's come back? But you get him a little bit more up to speed. You play Dominic Calvert-Lewin, providing he's not carrying any niggles because he came off the other night. You play him, and he could get a goal, and it boosts his confidence back up. There's quite a few things, but
I think you're more likely to see Tosin in this one than any game. But then again, he's linked with a move away. So where does his motivation level come to play this game? If he's speaking to Sam at West Brom or anything, where does his motivation come to play for Everton in a third round FA Cup tie? So it might be a case of you just have to play Richarlison or Dom.
I would play Dom if he's not injured. Just play him, see if he can score a goal, get back in the goals. I only want to see 2 or 3. I only want to see, Nkunku, Olsen, Gomez, Bernard.
Yeah, I think it's a game where we're going to have to. We can't play centre back to full back against Rotherham because they'll be made up.
Even you wouldn't enjoy watching that.
No.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna say though, I hate this phrase for anyone who applies it to a Premier League game, but I think it can apply here. There's no excuse. You've got the team should win no matter who plays because we're a Premier League outfit with international players and we're playing a bottom quarter championship team. I hate that expression because people apply it to games like you've got to beat Fulham, you've got to beat Team X in the Premier League, and it doesn't work like that in the Premier League. But with no fans against a poor championship side, I think it applies in this game.
Not me.
Yeah.
I think it's one of them. I think these are the kinds of teams you've got to be on guard with these sort of teams.
These will love set pieces, and that. I mean, we're not in the Marco Silva days of conceding every set piece that comes into our box, but these kinds of things we do have to be mindful of.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can just take the piss and not defend. You're not saying you don't have to defend against them, but there's no way we should be coming out of this game without having won. If we do, that's a massive failure. We're in 2 cups this year, and I want to try and every year I want to try and win one of them at least. But Carlo Ancelotti's brief has been to get us into Europe and win a trophy, and we've never had a manager more with better expertise at winning trophies than this one. So I fully expect us to get through this round, and then whatever happens after that happens.
Yeah. You'd like to think, I mean, in fairness to Ancelotti, against we were knocked out by Man United in the League Cup and on the day, and probably in general, obviously, they're a better squad than we are. So I think in the end, the better team won there. I can live with that if, we lose to a better team on paper. It's more we don't want to go and pitch an opportunity to win a trophy up the wall by losing to a lower league side. It's just like, you don't need that embarrassment when we're trying to break this duck.
Millwall was so annoying, but it was so predictable. I could have seen that coming.
Yeah, I could have saw that coming too.
That was a really predictable one because we talked about it a couple of years ago playing Millwall, but everything they were good at, we were bad at. So for me, it was they loved the cup as well. So I did think they would beat us because of how sort of lackluster we were at the time.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, how much of a clown Marco Silva was, Jesus Christ. I mean,
If I
this is the Rotherham match preview, not the Marco Silva batching show, but
I didn't answer because I didn't want to get into that because we'd have been here all night.
I don't know, I think we'd have all been here all night, but I could go on forever about that. But on the note of this game, I think that's a good point, is that Carlo Ancelotti, you'd like to think, has got the nous to get us past these kind of hurdles.
Yeah, I'd hope so. Same, like you said, with if you play Man United and in the middle of December and you've got injuries and you go out of a cup, that's one thing. If you've had 8 days off and you go and you play in Rotherham at Goodison Park and you go out, that's a completely different thing. We should be winning this game. We should be in the hat for the next round. If we're not, I won't be happy. But it wouldn't matter who the 11 is on the pitch, because we've, even our reserve players, a lot of them are internationals who are on a lot of money, so they should be beating teams like this.
Say that, but there's a lot of players in our reserves that I have zero confidence in. Not more so than the only like-for-like replacement for Calvert-Lewin, hence why he has to play.
I don't want him to play, but Tosin should be. I'm sorry, Tosin should be better than Rotherham. I mean, I know should be and is are two different things, but if he gets on the pitch and he looks like he can't run again, then give him away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I second that. I think he's got no chance of getting a Premier League club if he can't put in a decent account of himself against Rotherham.
Yeah, you'd say it'd be a chance for him to show what he can do. Obviously, he's got Sam and West Brom in the pipeline, but if he puts in a good...
get that. From my memory, Sam hated Tosin.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't play him because
he
didn't like the snow, but even though there was no snow here, and there was snow in Germany where he grew up.
Yeah, I don't think Sam would have Tosin. I think that's just a lazy link because the press know that Sam bought him, but don't know the context and what happened next. I don't think West Brom want him unless Sam hates the strikers he's got there even more than he hated Tosin, which he might.
You'll get his love child, Troy Deeney.
Yeah. I could see Tosin going to a Palace before I could see him go to West Brom, just because of who the manager is at West Brom. He thought he was crap. He didn't play him.
I think, personally, for me, I think it's a case of Tosin sticking himself in the shop window in this. If he doesn't get any game time in this game, and I can see him maybe going to like a Hertha Berlin or a side in Germany. I mean, Schalke are an absolute joke, and David Wagner's the manager. I mean, that screams like someone who might actually take Tosin.
David Wagner's not the Schalke manager anymore.
He's long gone.
What was he? There's had about 3 managers since him.
Oh, jeez.
He only left in October.
Well, it shows how much I'm paying attention to the Bundesliga. It's a far cry. It's a far cry from. It's a far cry from May and June when all we could watch on the sports channels with Bundesliga football.
Hey,
we knew
Freiburg
everything.
Won the last 4. I'll have you know. I'm absolutely over the moon.
Oh, he's loving it. But European. I mean, speaking of 4 wins on the bounce, I mean that's another point we're making, is that we built up a lot of good momentum, which we threw away basically in the West Ham game when we got beat. This is a good chance to quickly bounce back. It's not obviously not in the league, but winning, like you said before, from Rotherham's point of view, winning breeds winning. It's the same with us.
This isn't going to be another Owen Parks bingo phrase. I've said it once. Don't be making it up.
Go on, say it.
Winning breeds winning.
We need to go into this game with a clean sheet mentality.
Well, I think a bit more than that against Rotherham, but we'll see.
But no, I think that that applies to Rotherham, but I think it also applies to us. And we need to win to kickstart our momentum again, because we dented that a bit with the defeat against West Ham. And gives us a bit more confidence going into the next game against Wolves then, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, we've definitely got to go all out. I think the key to this game is going to be getting an early goal. We seem to be 10 times. Well, I think it is. We are far more likely to come out with a win if we scored in the first half. I mean, bar the Sheffield United game, when did we not score in the first half and win?
Don't ask me that. I don't know.
No, it's a good point because I'm only looking back as far as
the thing about that. I'm just going to give the team one simple instruction for the game: don't give any cheap set pieces away.
I don't know about that. If Andre Gomez plays, there's about 5 already.
If Andre Gomez plays, there's a cheap set piece in pretty much every most dangerous area of the pitch.
Play Benny Beningame, then I don't care.
play Lossell in midfield.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's one of them. We've just got to keep our heads. But it's one of those. You're always worried about these games. Obviously, having Millwall fresh in the mind, that derby last season against their kids, and frigging, there's so many FA Cup banana skins that I can recall where we've just got to get past this no matter what. And I'm hoping Carlo's drilled that into them, but as you know from the last game, I'm very much calling into question a lot of the players' motivation, a lot of the reserve players, and how much their will to win is there. Do players like Bernard really want this enough? This is the kind of game where you see no fans, lower league opposition. Is he going to show what he can do?
It was on Bernard before we say. But we were all our fan base was loving up Paulo Fonseca the other year. I'm not quite sure why. But, I mean, if he wants Bernard, we must question some of his management ability if he thinks he's a player. Christ.
No, yeah. I am, we were speaking about this in the live show the other day, weren't we, me and Terry? And Terry, I said to you, that potential swap deal could be a stroke of genius if we do an Olsen plus cash deal for Bernard.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key for me, and not going off on a tangent here, but selling Moyes Keane to bring some money in to buy someone so crucial for me, but because I feel like we need someone else in the final third, because I think we're lacking a bit when we haven't got our full team out, but that's by the by.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we need another striker. Well, a striker that can move, not Tosin.
Or even if you buy someone for the wing and say Richarlison can deputise up front from every now and then, I just think we need another option.
Yeah, one way or another, we need a new recruit this window, and I know we're not known for doing January business, but I think that has to change this time around. We've got a good opportunity, and bringing in some new faces might help us seize that.
And Terry will be glad to hear that Dele Alli probably will be going to PSG, not Everton.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it was one of them. At first, I was kind of sold on Dele Alli, but now I'm rethinking it, and it makes you wonder if Dele Alli's going there. Is there someone that PSG might be willing to let go? I know Draxler's out of contract, but is there anyone else who might become available from PSG?
Unsure. We'll have to see what Pochettino wants.
Bringing Rissy back again.
It's going to be a funny window, though, isn't it? Because the Brexit rules might change the transfers. It's already scuttled Big Sam a little bit, which delighted me greatly.
Don't let the irony be lost on you. Bloody hell.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
The bloke doesn't help himself, does he?
He must know how he comes across. He must do.
He took a job during the pandemic and moans it should be stopped because he doesn't want to get COVID.
No, I reckon they're just a seed that he's starting to plant to sort of make an excuse for himself to get out in case he can't keep them up.
No, he's just being a tit.
Yeah, he's not.
Maybe I'm overestimating his intelligence there.
He can't act any other way. He can only be himself, and he's a raging knobhead, basically. He can't help himself. He's not doing it on purpose. That's just the way he is.
Proper gammon behaviour there. But anyway, we'll finish up the preview here anyway. Let us know your opinions, how you're feeling going into this game. Let us know what team you'd like to see and whatnot. Obviously, there's going to be a fair few changes, you'd imagine. Give this video a like, subscribe for more content, and thank you for watching on the Toffee Blues.